In problem number 16, we are analyzing the cost of producing tacos. We are told that the average cost of producing one taco is $1.40 when 50 tacos are produced, and only 60 cents when 250 tacos are produced. We need to determine the fixed cost, assuming that the cost function is linear. So let's begin by looking at this last piece of information that is contained in the problem, namely that the fixed costs, that the cost function is linear. Since the cost function is linear, we can write down the equation for the cost function in the following form: C of x equals mx plus b. And where m is the marginal cost, and b is fixed costs. So our goal is to find b because the problem is asking us to find fixed costs. Okay. So we need to find what b is, and that would be our answer. Now we also know that since the cost function is linear, the graph of the cost versus the production level is going to be a straight line. Now, unfortunately, the other information that is given to us in the problem doesn't necessarily deal with the cost function per se. It deals with the average cost per taco. However, it is actually quite easy to calculate the total cost for each of the levels of production, given the average cost per taco and the number of tacos produced. And so, for example, if 50 tacos are produced, the total cost of producing those 50 tacos is going to be 140 times 50. Right, because it costs 140 per taco and 50 tacos are produced. Therefore, the total cost is going to be 140 times 50, and that's going to be $70. And what this gives us, it actually gives us 1 point on the line, which is the graph of the cost versus the production level. 50, 70 is the point on that cost line. Similarly, we can find the total cost of manufacturing 250 tacos. In that case, when this many tacos are being produced, it costs only 60 cents per taco to produce. And the total cost of producing 250 of them will be 0.6 multiplied by 250. So 6 times 25, and that's going to be 150. So it costs $150 to manufacture 250 tacos. And that gives us a second point on the cost line, 250, 150. Now remember that what we need to find is fixed costs, and the fixed cost is the value of b, which is the c-intercept of this line. We will be able to determine the fixed cost, the value of b, if we determine the equation for this line. So now let's try to determine the equation of the line that goes through the 2 points, 50, 70, 250, 150. Let's begin by calculating the slope, which is can be calculated as rise divided by the run. And we'll use these 2 points to calculate the rise and run between these 2 points. The rise is 150 minus 70. a rise of $80. When we increase the production level from 50 tacos to 250 tacos, there is an increase in cost of $80. 150 minus 70, that's our rise. And the run is 250 minus 50, a run of 200. And so we get 80 over 200. And that is 0.4. Okay, so the slope of our line is 0.4. This is the marginal cost. And now we can use the point slope form of an equation of a line to write down the equation. Let me remind you what point slope form is. If you have a line and you know one point on that line, meaning you know the coordinates of one of the points on the line, and you know the slope m, then the equation of the line can be written as follows: y minus the y coordinate of the point, y minus b, equals m times x minus a. If you write it in this form, m equals to y minus b over x minus a, then you will see that this formula is nothing else than the usual formula for the slope, rise over run, where we use the point AB and an other arbitrary point XY on the line to calculate the rise and the run. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to use the first point, 50, 70, and the fact that we know the slope, the value of the slope is 0.4, to write down the equation of this line. Y minus 70 equals, or actually should have been using C instead of Y, but not a big deal if we use a different letter. Y minus 70 equals 0.4 times x minus 50. And now to solve the, to find the y-intercept of this line, we'll simply plug in x equals to 0 and solve for y. So what do we have? We get y minus 70 equals 0.4 multiplied by 0 minus 50. In other words, y equals 70 plus, actually minus 0.4 times negative 50 is going to be negative 20. And so that gives us the y-intercept of 50. And therefore, our fixed costs are $50. B equals to 50.